What's going on, YouTube? My name is LifeLikeSned, and today I want to talk to you about controllers. Elite controllers. And yeah, this video is a little bit late, but I've put a lot of time on both controllers now, so I feel like I can give them an honest review, a fair comparison, and give my real thoughts about it. I've gotten to know both controllers very, very intimately. I got about 1,800 hours on the original, and I'm coming up on 1,000 on the Elite Series 2. And spoiler alert, they're both great. One's definitely better. Depending who you are, it might not be that much better for you, though. Now, there's been a lot of talk in the past about the Elite controllers having a lot of issues. They're not built good. They have tons of problems out of the box. You're going to go through a bunch. And then a lot of people say that Microsoft doesn't honor their warranty and they're not very cooperative and they won't help you if you have an issue. I gotta say, I find it hard to believe that anybody's actually having all these issues. Now, on my Elite Series 1 controller, the OG, the original, I got it. I pre-ordered it when it first came out. So I got this controller day one, first day it came out. And I did have an issue with it. About 3 months later, I had the left joystick was drifting slightly up as I was playing. That's a common problem with them from what I hear. A lot of people, when they got the first ones, they had that issue. I'm not sure if Microsoft ever fixed it or not, but when I had the problem, I just went to the Microsoft store, told them, hey, my left thumbstick's drifting up ever so slightly. Is there anything I can do to fix it? Can you fix it? What do I need to do? The guy takes the controller from me, tells me to wait a minute. He goes in the back, comes back out, and hands me a brand new controller. He didn't even really ask me any questions aside from, how's my day going? And he told me I was good to go. That's the easiest warranty process I've ever had to deal with. I didn't even have to argue with anybody. I didn't have to explain my problem. Outstanding. Fantastic. And then I put, just almost 2,000 hours on it after that and never had a single issue ever since. When the day came, I pre-ordered the Series 2. Got it the first day it came out. That's the same one. Never had an issue. No problems at all. I know some people have complained that they had some issues with theirs originally. I don't know how valid they are. I don't know how true and accurate that is. I don't have an issue with this one. I think it's great. It's good. They're both good. But let's look at them a little bit closer. Now here it is. This right here is the Elite Series 1 controller. And as you can see, it's got some wear and tear. You can see some rings around here. I did end up putting a silicone case on it. Just for comfort purposes, because it's a little bit slippery and gets a little bit grimy. And a lot of people were reporting that the grips were peeling off. They were having issues with them. I never had that issue. They're on there. They're firmly on there. They're not peeling up in any area whatsoever. So I'm not sure what people are doing that they're having that issue, and I'm not blaming them either. I never had the issue. This is the Elite 1 controller. Now, this video is probably going to be for people who already have this controller, and they're probably wondering, should I fork over the money to upgrade to the new one? And I say that in quotes because, well, depending on how you play, who you are, and where you play, you might want to stick with the original. So, to compare the two, so there's a lot of comparisons to be had. They're almost the same at first glance. The top's a little bit different, but they look, appearance-wise, fairly similar. Not a whole lot of differences at first glance. But if you look just a little bit deeper, you might notice these paddles are slightly different. The Elite Series 1, the original, they're a little bit longer. And I'm going to come out and say it right away. I prefer the longer paddles. They're a little bit easier for me to grab. They're a little bit more comfortable. I like them. You might also notice that the battery on the Elite Series 2 is sealed in. It's rechargeable. Now, Microsoft does say you're supposed to be able to get about 40 hours out of it. I know I've gone an entire week or more without charging it, and I usually play for, probably about 25, maybe even 30 hours a week, depending on the week. And it's never once died on me. It does charge pretty quick, and we'll get into that a little bit more. But some people might prefer an aftermarket battery or double A's even. A lot of people still prefer that. You can also see here there's trigger stops. And on the original one, you can either go full down or click it down once and get a half click. On the Series 2, you get a little bit more options here. You can go very feather, half trigger, or full down, depending on the type of game you're playing and just what your personal preference is. The bottom, exactly the same for the most part. Back to the front again is where things get a little bit different. Yes, they can both quickly change out the joysticks to something longer, slightly different shape. You can change out your D-pads on both, but Series 2 can do a few things the Series 1 can't. Inside, right here on the Series 2, you can actually adjust the sensitivity of the thumbsticks, how much it takes to actually move them around. The resistance. All you need is this tool here that comes with the controller. Just goes right in there and you can just twist it. And now it's slightly stiffer. So if you're somebody like me who kind of gets a little twitchy, you can actually help even out and smooth your aiming, your movements. I like that a lot. That's a huge difference to me. That's something the Series 1 or the original can't do. You might also notice that the profile button right here in the middle is slightly different on each. It's because the Series 1, the original, only has 1 and 2. The Series 2 here has 3 different profiles you can save in. If you're playing different games or different people use the controller, the top of each controller is exactly the same, slightly color different, but the difference, micro USB, USB-C. Now obviously you can recharge the controller here via USB-C cable, or you can use the case it comes with. The Elite Series 1 here, it cannot be recharged via the micro USB, for whatever reason. I don't know if that's just third-party battery manufacturers that don't allow it, or if it's the software built in. I'm not really sure. It doesn't charge that way. That's kind of a bummer. So if you're running out of battery, you're kind of screwed, or throw in the AA's. Another feature that the Elite Series 2 has that the original doesn't is it has Bluetooth. You might be wondering, why would I want my controller to have Bluetooth? Well, hell, it's pretty awesome when it comes to the streaming service, xCloud, that Microsoft offers. Works great. I use it all the time. It's very, very fast and smooth. I use it on my Android phone, Samsung S10 Plus before. Now I'm using it with my S20 Ultra. Flawless, no issues. Also, the good thing about a Bluetooth controller versus the older Xbox controllers is you won't need this adapter if you want to use it with your PC. If you have an OG Xbox One controller, you're going to need this adapter. It's completely necessary, otherwise you cannot use it with a PC. It's just a USB. It looks like a flash drive. But this is something you'll need to use with PC if you have the Series 1 or an OG Xbox One controller. It works great. There's no issues with it, but, it's extra cost. It does have to take up a USB port, obviously. But if that doesn't bother you, maybe stick with the original. Now let's look at the case here for a second. This is pretty much everything you get inside, plus the tool. It's got little slots for everything. And the cool thing with the case is it's got a slot in the back to stick your USB-C cable through, right here. Because when you throw the controller inside the case, it charges right there. All you gotta do is just set it down, makes contacts with the points on the back, recharges. If you want to get up and go, yank out the USB-C, zip it up, good to go. Microsoft really thought everything through with this. They really put the time and the effort into making this all in one. Very easy, very fluid, no thought needed. All right, now you might be thinking to yourself, all right, well, why wouldn't I upgrade? Why wouldn't I get the new one? Why would I stick with the old one versus getting the Elite Series 2? And there's a few reasons for it. Like I said earlier, the paddles in the back on the old one are a little bit longer and they do feel a little bit better. And that might make all the difference for how you game, how you play, what you're going to do. It just depends on you. If you already have the original one, it's a good controller. I like the second one a lot better. It's much more comfortable. It's a little bit lighter with a rechargeable battery compared to the old one. The grips on it are a little bit better. They're a little bit more comfortable. So something else I forgot to mention earlier when we were looking at these a little closer is that every button is customizable on this. You can set each button to do whatever you need depending on how you like to play the game. You can even set the buttons up to record your screenshots or record video clips, whatever you want to do, without having to do the press the Xbox button and then push Y or push X. You can just set that up so you push it right away and it happens. You don't have to mess with it, which makes things a lot easier. Now, the way I set things up is I like to play like this. I like to set the paddles up to be the trigger and bumper buttons, just because I have really bad carpal tunnel. So after a while of holding a controller the standard way, my hands get tired. But holding it like this is much more comfortable. I think the preferred way for a lot of people is to actually set these buttons in the back to be your X, Y, A, and B, so that way you can jump around and move, and you never have to take your thumb off the right analog stick. Very handy, very fluid. It makes things much easier. Now, a lot of people compare these controllers to, say, SCUF and whatnot. And while fair, I'm going to throw it out there right now that I've used a couple of SCUF controllers, and I greatly prefer this one. I much prefer the Elite Series 1 and 2 to anything SCUF makes. It just feels better, feels more high quality, and the warranty is just worth it anyway. Plus, it's drastically cheaper than one of those third-party controllers. And a lot of people like to complain that, $180 is too much money for a controller. Why would I ever spend that much? Well, because it's worth it to a lot of us. Me especially, it allows me to play much longer sessions than I normally ever would. And I appreciate Microsoft making this. I think Microsoft thinks about gamers a lot more than most other companies do, even gaming-specific companies. Even down to their adaptive controller for people with disabilities and handicaps. Something they're never going to make a profit on, but they spent the money to make it. They took the time, and they made something unique to help the community come together and grow and expand in ways it never could before. And you can see that in their Elite line of controllers. They really throw a lot of time and ingenuity into it, and I really appreciate it. Even for the money, I'm willing to spend $180 on it. And I'm willing to tell other people to go spend $180 on it because I think it's worth that money. I recommend checking it out. Go pick one up. They're sold Best Buy, Walmart, Target. Go to a Microsoft store directly if you can. If you've never been to a Microsoft store, it's going to blow your mind how friendly they are. I've been to a couple different stores, and damn, it's the most friendly staff I've ever dealt with in my life. They're awesome, and there's no pressure whatsoever. They just ask you if you want help. They offer you, water, a bottle of soda. They don't even charge you for it. It's great. Love it. But anyway, that's about going to wrap it up for me. If you guys have any questions, just ask them in the comments. I'll reply to every comment for the most part. Thank you for your time. If you appreciate the video or got any sort of value out of it, hit like, maybe even subscribe. Follow me on Twitter. I'm going to be streaming every Friday, Saturday, Sunday on Twitch. You guys have a beautiful day. Thank you for your time.